Two people, same city, same age, same starting point. One of them is stressed about whether they can afford groceries this week. The other just crossed $100,000 in their bank account. And here's the part that'll mess with your head. It's not because one of them worked harder. It's not because one of them got lucky. It's not even because one of them knew some secret investment strategy. It's because they think differently. Not smarter, not more educated, differently. And that one word, differently, is going to be the entire point of this video. Because most people believe the gap between $1 and $100,000 is a money problem. But it's not. It's a psychology problem. And once you understand exactly how that psychology works, the path from one to the other stops feeling impossible.
My name is Jack. If you're someone trying to figure out why your financial life feels stuck no matter what you try, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Because today, we're going inside the mind, and what we find there might surprise you. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Most people think the person with $100,000 just made better financial decisions, better investments, better discipline, better habits. And sure, those things matter. But here's what nobody tells you. The decisions come after the mindset, not before. Research in behavioral economics shows that the way humans perceive money is deeply irrational. We don't see dollars as equal units of value. We see them through a lens of emotion, identity, and survival. And that lens looks completely different depending on where you are financially. When you're at $1 or close to zero, your brain is not in planning mode. It's in survival mode. And survival mode has one job: get through today. Psychologists call this scarcity mindset. And a landmark study from Princeton and Harvard found something shocking. When people are financially stressed, their cognitive bandwidth, basically their mental processing power, drops significantly. We're talking the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points, not because they're less intelligent, because their brain is consuming so much energy just managing financial fear that there's not enough left for long-term thinking. So the person living paycheck to paycheck isn't making bad decisions because they're careless. They're making short-term decisions because their brain is literally wired for short-term survival right now. That's not a character flaw. That's neuroscience. Now here's where it gets interesting.
The person at $100,000 isn't just richer. They're operating with a completely different mental operating system. When financial pressure drops, the brain shifts. Suddenly, you have the mental space to think in months and years instead of days and weeks. You start asking different questions. Not, how do I make it to Friday? But, where do I want to be in 5 years? That shift changes everything. It changes how you negotiate your salary. It changes how you respond to setbacks. It changes how you see opportunities. But here's the trap most people fall into. They think they need the money first to get the mindset. But actually, the mindset has to move first. Even slightly, even imperfectly. And that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
The 3 psychological gaps between $1 and $100,000. Gap 1, time horizon. People at $1 think in days. People at $100,000 think in years. This isn't about patience, it's about safety. When you have no financial cushion, every decision feels urgent. You take the first job offer because you need income now. You skip the investment because you might need that cash next month. You don't negotiate because you're afraid of losing what you already have. The $100,000 mindset plays a longer game, not because it's more disciplined, because it feels safe enough to wait. So how do you shift this before you have the money? Start making one decision per week with a 1-year lens. Not your whole life, just one decision. Ask yourself, will this matter in 12 months? That single habit starts rewiring the time horizon your brain defaults to. Gap 2, identity.
Here's one of the most overlooked reasons people stay stuck. They don't see themselves as someone who builds wealth. They see themselves as someone who struggles with money. And the brain is extremely loyal to identity. Whatever story you tell yourself about who you are, your brain will find evidence to confirm it. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. If you believe you're bad with money, you'll unconsciously notice every mistake and ignore every win. And slowly, that belief hardens into fact. The person at $100,000 doesn't necessarily have more willpower. They just have a different story running in the background. I'm someone who figures this out. I'm someone who learns from mistakes. I'm someone who makes money work. Those aren't affirmations. They're operating instructions for your behavior. So the shift here is small but powerful. Stop saying, "I'm bad with money." Replace it with, "I'm learning how money works." That's not denial. That's an accurate state. And over time, it changes what you do. Gap 3. Relationship with risk. When you have nothing, risk feels terrifying. Because losing $100 when you only have $100 is catastrophic. So your brain avoids anything that feels risky. New opportunities, career moves, investments, even conversations about money. But here's the psychological irony. Avoiding risk at $1 is actually the riskiest thing you can do. Because staying still when you need to grow is its own kind of loss. Slow, invisible, but real. The person at $100,000 has a different relationship with risk because they've built a buffer. They know a setback won't destroy them, so they take calculated chances. They apply for the stretch job. They start the side project. They invest instead of hoard. You need $100,000 to start thinking this way. You need a buffer, even a small one. Research shows that having even $500 in emergency savings changes decision-making behavior. Not dramatically, but measurably, because the brain feels just slightly less cornered. And that small shift opens the door to longer thinking, which is why the first financial goal for most people shouldn't be an investment. It should be a buffer, even $250, even $100. Something that tells your brain you are not in a crisis. So what actually moves you from one mindset to the other? It's not a single moment. It's a series of small rewires. First, build the buffer, not to get rich, to get your brain out of survival mode. Second, change the time lens on just one decision per week, 1 year out. That's it. Third, audit your money identity. What story are you telling yourself? Because that story is running your financial life, whether you know it or not. Fourth, take one small, calculated risk. Not a gamble, a risk with a floor. Apply for the higher paying job. Start the side income. Negotiate something. Do something that tells your brain risk is survivable. Because here's the real secret between $1 and $100,000. It's not a straight line. It's a mindset ladder. And every rung you climb, even by a few dollars, even by a single new belief, changes how you see the next rung. The person at $100,000 didn't jump there. They climbed, rung by rung, belief by belief, decision by decision. And the most important rung, it's the first one. Because the moment you stop letting survival mode run your financial life, even for one decision, you start thinking like someone who builds wealth. And that changes everything. If this hit different, hit subscribe and comment one word. The one word that describes how you currently feel about money. I read every single one. Because understanding where you are right now is exactly where this journey starts.